I knew something was wrong the moment I walked past the groom's suite. You know when your name comes up in a conversation and the room suddenly gets too quiet? Yeah, that kind of wrong. I'm Lena Carter, 27, and today was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, my wedding day, my perfect ending. Except, endings only look perfect from far away. I was heading to the makeup room when I heard Mark, my fiancé, laughing with his best man. Not just laughing the way he does when he's bragging. I froze. "Dude, chill," his best man whispered. "What if she hears?" Mark scoffed. "She won't. And even if she did, what's she gonna do? Walk out?" My stomach dropped. Then he said the words that made my entire world split open. "I'm marrying her for her family's connections. Not for whatever you call love." They both laughed. Love. Whatever you call love. I felt my heartbeat in my teeth. I felt the floor tilt. I felt the air leave my lungs like someone punched me straight through the chest. And then, her dad's contract will double the firm's revenue. After that, I'm set. She's convenient. Convenient. That's all I was to him. Not a partner, not a soulmate, just a shortcut. I stepped back from the door so quietly, even the carpet didn't notice. My hands were shaking, but not from heartbreak, from clarity, because in that moment, something inside me clicked, something cold, something sharp. And I decided, if Mark wanted a wedding for business, then I would give him a wedding he would never forget. I walked back to the bridal suite like nothing happened. People kept popping in. Makeup artists, my aunt, a random cousin trying to record TikToks. All smiling, all excited, all clueless. Inside, my face was calm. But my mind? It was doing corporate-level strategic planning at lightning speed. Mark thought I was convenient? All right, let's leverage that. I sat in front of the mirror, staring at my own reflection, mascara wand in hand. Steady, focused. My eyes didn't look heartbroken. They looked operational. My phone buzzed, a message from Mark. "Ready for the big moment? Love you. Love you." He really typed that, with the same fingers that just bragged about using me like a LinkedIn endorsement. I didn't reply. Instead, I sent a text to someone else, my father. "Dad, before the ceremony, I need you to come to the bridal suite. Alone." He showed up in 3 minutes flat, no knocking, just the door opening, and my father, the man who built his company from a garage, stepping inside. I didn't cry. I didn't tremble. I just told him exactly what I heard, word for word. He didn't speak for a solid 10 seconds. Then he did something I'd never seen in my entire life. He smiled. Not a happy smile. A CEO who just found a breach in contract smile. A "let's ruin this boy's fiscal quarter" smile. "My daughter," he said, adjusting his cufflinks. "You don't cancel a wedding for this. You capitalize on it." That's when the plan changed. I wasn't just walking out. I wasn't just exposing Mark. I was about to let him walk straight into the spotlight, and then pull the plug right when he thought the cameras loved him. But first, I needed one more thing. The groom's own mother. The woman who raised him. The one who believed he was an angel. She walked in after my father called her. I braced for her to defend him. Instead, she sat down, sighed, and whispered, "I've known he was like this." I just hoped he'd change for you." Her voice cracked, and somehow that hurt more than Mark's words, because she wasn't shocked. She was tired. That's when I realized this wasn't revenge anymore. This was accountability. Before leaving the room, she squeezed my hand and said, "Do what you need to do, sweetheart." So I stood up, fixed my veil, squared my shoulders, and took the deepest breath of my life. Because this wasn't just a wedding anymore. This was a stage, and Mark was about to get the performance he earned.
When the wedding coordinator knocked on the door, 5 minutes, my pulse barely moved. 5 minutes until I stepped into a room full of people who thought this day was about love. 5 minutes until Mark walked into the biggest HR performance review of his life. I walked out of the suite with my father on one side and silence on the other. Every step echoed. Every bridesmaid smiled like nothing was wrong. They kept fixing my dress, adjusting my hair, whispering, "You look gorgeous." But they didn't know I wasn't walking toward a marriage. I was walking toward a reckoning. The music started. People stood. And there he was, Mark, standing at the altar, smiling like a man who had already closed the deal. Chest out, teeth white, hands folded like he owned the moment. I took slow steps, not trembling, not emotional, just ready. When I reached the front, he whispered, "You okay? You look tense." I smiled so sweetly even the photographer inhaled. "I'm perfect," I told him, and I meant it. The minister began talking, something about love, unity, partnership, but I wasn't listening. I was watching Mark's face, every micro-expression, every blink, every false smile. Then came the moment. Before the vows, the bride and groom have prepared personal messages for each other. Perfect. Mark went first. He talked about how much he cherished me, how I made him better, how he loved my passion. The whole time I stood there thinking, this man really doesn't know what's coming. Then it was my turn. I took the microphone. My hands were steady, my voice clear. "Thank you all for being here today," I began, looking around the room. "And thank you, Mark, for giving me a moment to say something truly important." He smiled. "Bad idea. Before we make promises," I continued, "I think everyone deserves to hear the truth behind this union." The room shifted. People sat straighter. Cameras tilted. Mark's smile froze halfway. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just told the exact sentences he said in that hallway, word for word. Every insult, every dismissal, every time he mocked my voice, my culture, my career. The entire room went silent, the kind of silence that squeezes the air out of your lungs. Mark tried to grab the mic. I stepped back. "No, Mark, you spoke enough already." His mother covered her face. My father just folded his arms, corporate boardroom style. I turned back to the guests and said, "For everyone watching today, especially the young women, let this be a reminder. If a man laughs at you when you speak, you don't marry him." A collective gasp. Mark whispered, "Anna, stop," but I wasn't done. "And to the person who said my accent makes me sound uneducated, I want you to hear this clearly." I switched languages, fluid, perfect Spanish, and the room erupted in chills. Because suddenly he wasn't mocking a stereotype. He was standing in front of a woman who knew exactly who she was and exactly what she deserved. Mark looked like someone had unplugged his entire system, pale, frozen, breathing wrong. And then I said the final line, "I will not be marrying you today." The room exploded. Gasps, whispers, shocked laughter. Someone's jaw literally hit the floor. Mark reached for me, desperate, but I stepped back, lifted the mic and said, "Mark, this breakup is live." And for the first time all day, I felt free. The moment I walked off that altar, it felt like the air finally belonged to me again. My heels clicked against the floor louder than the guest whispers. louder than Mark calling my name behind me. Anna! Anna, wait! But I didn't wait. I pushed open the chapel doors and stepped into the cool evening breeze, my dress trailing behind me like a banner of rebellion. For a moment, I closed my eyes and let the wind hit my face. It felt like the universe was exhaling with me. Behind me, the doors burst open. Mark stumbled out, breathless, grabbing at my arm. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. I turned slowly. Funny, I said. That's exactly what you did to me. Just smaller audience. He blinked rapidly, still trying to compute that he no longer controlled the narrative. Anna, we can fix this. I didn't mean those things. I was just... No, I cut in, calm as ice. You meant them. You just didn't mean for people to hear them. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. For once, the mocker had no words. I walked down the steps, each one feeling lighter. Halfway through, I stopped and looked back at him. You know what's really fascinating, Mark? He swallowed hard. You were so worried about how I sounded that you never noticed you were the one talking like a child. He stepped forward. Don't leave like this. So I gave him exactly what he deserved, the truth he had been hiding from himself. You wanted a wife who'd stay quiet, someone who'd shrink so you could stand taller, but you picked the wrong woman. I pointed back toward the building, and now the whole city knows it. A few guests had followed us outside, watching from a distance. Mark couldn't hide anymore. His face was red, hands trembling. The perfect picture of a man who built his confidence on someone else's silence, and just lost both. I walked toward the parking lot, and with every step my voice grew clearer. You mocked the way I talked, I said, but today, I spoke louder than you ever will. He didn't follow me after that. By the time I reached my car, bridesmaids were already whispering. The best man looked like he'd seen a ghost, and Mark's mother couldn't even look at him. I sat inside, placed my bouquet on the passenger seat, and let out a long, steady breath. Not a sad one, not an angry one, a victorious one. On the drive home, my phone buzzed nonstop. Messages, calls, screenshots from people who'd been watching the live broadcast. Apparently, my speech had already gone viral. Legend, queen, icon, you saved so many women today. I pulled over for a moment, opened the window, and just smiled. For the first time in my life, I felt completely, unapologetically myself. My accent, my voice, my story, all mine, and finally, heard. And as I drove away from the wedding that never happened, one thought kept glowing in my mind like a quiet flame. Sometimes the best love story is the one you walk away from.